Hello everyone, welcome to episode 47 live with Sirius Migration, with lots of news and excitement for year 2022. Happy New Year to you all. Hope you had a good Christmas and New Year period. There's lots of different changes and things that we went through. And it's going to be an exciting 2022 for sure. We, being in Queensland, Australia, we were not used to COVID restrictions as much prior December 2022, but now we've got increasing numbers of COVID coming in. So it was a matter of earlier matter of avoiding COVID, but now it's just telling yourself how well can you prepare yourself to face COVID by the look of it, because it's just everywhere at the moment. With the new variant, we've got a lot of friends and families and colleagues who's catching COVID-19 and the new variant Omicron. So among all this, it is definitely going to impact our migration program, Australian visa migration program as well. Excitingly, we've been the long-awaited international student borders restrictions has been released earlier last month, if I say that, last year, December, after 15th of December 2021. International students are now allowed to travel into Australia. They're among a few of the other visa categories who are allowed to travel to Australia. So a lot of people ask who can travel and who can't travel. So in a nutshell, before we go into in detail, I just wanted to remind everyone today is going to be an overview of our predictions and our migration predictions for 2022-23 year. So we'll have the proper indications of this year's migration program in the new financial year, halfway through this year, in July 2022. Until then, I just wanted to give you a little bit of share my knowledge and predictions on what I believe is going to happen with the migration program, so that might give you a bit of a clue to get yourself prepared for how to face how to plan your migration plans if you were interested in Australian migration. So, who are allowed to come into Australia right now without travel exemption? Australian permanent residents and citizens can freely come into Australia right now. But remember, the quarantine program depends on, there are federal requirements as well as state requirements. So with your travel agents and people who organize and advise you on the ticketing and travel arrangements, discuss with them further to understand what requirements are imposed to you or applicable to you, and what restrictions that you have to go through and what quarantine requirements are. So Australian permanent residents, citizens, international students array, long-awaited, all the international students can now travel into Australia. Who are studying online can now no longer have to do it online in their home country. They can travel into Australia. Lot of skill, most of the skill visa holders like 189, 190, 491, you can travel in. GTI client, you could always travel in. And immediate family members of Australian citizens and permanent residents, you can travel in. And also 188 clients, business visa clients, they could always travel in as well. So there are many visa categories open. very frequently asked question: is Australia open for visitor visas yet? My answer is no. Immediate family members can apply for visitor visa, but certain business visa clients, for prioritize important business visits, you can apply to come to Australia, and then depending on your scenarios, you'll be granted, or you'll be your application will be considered. Outside of that, there's going to be a good couple of months coming up with a lot of international students coming in, and I think it'll give a little bit more liveliness to universities and institutes who didn't have many participating students. So which is a good thing. Always good to have students around. They're keeping the momentum going, and economy is the second thing to worry about. So in my opinion, international students coming, it is also there are also lots of incentives available for international students. So when you're getting advice to choose a university, choose a course, choose a state, there are a lot of things to consider. Get your advice from and then plan your pathway properly, so you don't have to come into the country and keep on changing your courses and changing your institutes, which cost you money, cost you time, and also may jeopardize your career pathways as well. So welcome back, international students. If you're not benefiting the scholarships in many universities, ask the question as well, because you might get some benefits out of those questions. We always advise our students there are many incentives available for them, so benefit them. Predictions with the family visas. I can see an increase in processing time in certain family visas, such as parent visas has gone, normal parent visas has gone, increased the normal processing time to over 30 years, whereas contributory parent visas are sitting at about 4 to 5 year processing time. So parent and partner visas slow down a bit. Partner visas don't take years. It still can go up to anywhere. We have cross experience, so I've got experience with partner visas which we got decisions within 3-4 months, and can also go up to 18-20 months. So it sits somewhere in the middle. I believe there'll be very good opportunities and incentives for people who's coming to work. So for work visas, there'll be an increased interest from both the employer side, and there'll be support from immigration. With I'm expecting with a really good program this year as well. They have already given many relaxations for visa applicants, so like priority processing, etc. So for visas like 482, 494, 486, even 407, 408, 400, that sort of work visa categories, there'll be lots of opportunities. There's to my experience and knowledge and what I'm seeing, there is a big labor shortage in Australia, not only high-end skill labor shortage, there's also low-end labor shortage as well. And currently with the COVID activities and having COVID affected employees in workplace, there is a big risk of having employee shortage, temporary and short to medium term in workplaces in Australia right now. And it's in many different levels, it's not in just one level. And also I'm expecting there is already a big boost given from the government to business visas. Business visa went through big revamp in mid last year, 2021 July, and ever since then, with the ministerial directions, we've seen priority processing in with the 188 visa holders, where we're seeing decisions are made between 7 to 12 months, where they were dragging for 24-30 months, but it's now a processing of just over and around a year right now. So which is a very good thing. It not only increases the investments into the country, it also increases the job opportunities and new innovations and opportunities in Australia as well. So business visas, there'll be an increase cap going in. Next topic with GTI, Global Talent Independent, one of my favorite topics. We have processed many applications in Global Talent Independent sector. We continue to see a large or increased processing time. Some of my clients already looked for alternative options as well because of the delays, but I'm saying it can take from anywhere between 6 to 12 months for an expression of interest or to be processed and get a invitation granted, whereas the actual application processing is continuing to be between 1 to 3 months maximum. So GTI still is a very good opportunity for highly talented independents, individuals. So GTI is still there, but it is doubtful how supportive it'll be with the next year's allocations as well. With this year, GTI had a bigger cap or bigger availability provided, but again with that bigger number, maybe the processing got clogged up a bit. We've seen very slow responses in decisions. After talking about all this, I just also want to and also one other incentive that I wanted to remind with people who are with Section 48 bar, who are living on shore. You can apply for skill visas such as 491, 190 and 494 regional visas. So that's an indication of government supports toward the skilled workers in Australia right now, and there are talks about giving permanent residency pathways for short-term skill occupation list as well. So people who know there are, for you to work, there are two categories under 482 visa. So unlike in 457 days, with the occupations, there are a list of occupations which are in short-term skill occupation list. Some occupations are in medium to long-term skill shortage list. So if you're in STSOL or the short-term skill occupation list, you currently do not have a permanent residency pathway unless certain occupations have permanent residence pathway through regional occupations. So for an example, If you're a cook, you can still apply for 482 under short-term skill occupation list, because it's not a medium to long-term skill shortage occupation. Your visa will be granted for 2 years, which you can then further extend for another 2 years, but you cannot apply for permanent residency through 186 unless you go into a regional area and work under the same occupation and apply for 494 and then 2191. So with the new changes, we are expecting the short-term skill occupation listed occupations to have a permanent resident pathway as well, which is a great thing. So we can retain these skills within the country and with the gained experience. Also, for international students coming in, I would love to give them a little bit of share a bit of my knowledge when you choosing colleges and universities, and also the career paths. Some students are looking to study and return. Some are looking to study, gain some experience and return, and some are expecting to study, gain some experience, and maybe explore the opportunities to stay in country in Australia and spend the rest of their life and build their career and life in Australia. So that's my experience with international students. They're the three categories of international students that I always put down to. So if you're going into that any of those option 2 or 3, you have to plan yourself properly when you study. If you want to, once you've completed your course, if you want to explore get some work experience in Australia, or explore your opportunities to stay back in Australia, it is vital that you plan your pathway properly. So when you're picking states, you need to first thing is you need to pick what you really want to do, a professional career pathway, or you want to pursue a trade qualification or a trade pathway. Once you sort that out, you then have to pick where do you want to study your course. It is good to pick the university or the institute directly, but then again, if you're planning further, then it is important for you to understand what benefits you get by studying in which state. Some of my students, they pick certain states just because they heard it, or the state is popular, or they have some friends in that state. So it is important to know what states giving back to you if you were to stay back, or if what other options. So for an example, certain states give you incentives towards studying in that states if you were to become a permanent resident. One of a prime example is ACT. ACT has a matrix system. So when you might have heard the expression of interest criteria, the applications. So before you going through a skill migration pathway, you need to express your interest by expression of interest, and then the relevant, unless you're going through 189, relevant state agency will extend an invite to you for that expression of interest if you qualified, depending on your qualifications and your competitiveness in your points. So ACT is highly regarding people spend more time in their state, whether you spend studied 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. So that matters when you apply. So if you changing, if you studied in New South Wales or Melbourne, and then you suddenly thought, oh, it's there are better migration opportunities in ACT, so I'm going to go. Bear in mind, you're losing out some matrix points. Whereas if you were to right now, last couple of months we had a really good migration program in New South Wales state. For last month, they changed the 190 criteria. So now, after completing your qualification, not only you have to stay, live and work in the state for minimum of 3 months. Now you have to demonstrate that you have at least 3 years work experience on the occupation before you apply to 190 application. So point as well as that. Certain states not only give you a lot of incentives, like Tasmania and Queensland give you migration pathways, as well as there are extended options like small business pathways as well. So South Australia, Tasmania, Queensland continue to glitter in certain ways, and but also, just because New South Wales extended 3 years, it's not a bad state either. They have a lot of other options too. They have migration programs for truck drivers in Orana. So as I said, it's sometimes good to get some experience, or good to get some advice from an experienced consultant in these regards. So state, when you're picking up where to stay, I would highly recommend not to be carried out by I'm having a friend there, or I've done a short course in this college before, university before. Just plan yourself properly, so you know where you exactly want to study and what you really want to study, and what is going to be an indicative outcome after completing your course as well. My predictions for this year, 2022 going all the way to 2023, in career pathways, always remember, before we go into the career pathways, I want to give you a little hint as well. When you're picking up states, whichever the state you study, also consider what regional universities can offer you, what regional institutes can offer you as well. It gives you a lot of migration incentives to you by studying in regional. Not only the extra points, it gives you extra 485 program, or the temporary resident time, and also it is very less competitive for you to go find job opportunities. A lot of friendly environments out there. If you put your hard yards, it's not that complicated for you to go find job opportunities, as well as get some work experience while you're studying. Again, it is really important for you to keep an eye on what opportunities out there when you're picking a course in college. Career pathways. As I said earlier, career pathways goes straight into two different subjects or categories in my mind. One being professionals, the other one being trades. So this year, I think there'll be lots of incentives towards health sector, IT sector, financial services sector, and engineering sector, in my knowledge. So within those sectors, pick up what you want to do, etc., and then plan your career that way as well. Health sector, I always recommend people going into careers like nursing, etc., to start your first step in TAFE colleges, because they give you a lot of exposure to the vocational side of it, because even you going into a bachelor's degree, it is good to have that hands-on experience. And also I would like to remind there are lots of federal government plans and infrastructure plans for coming years, and not to forget 2032 Australia is going to host Brisbane's going to host Olympic 2032, and there are going to be many infrastructure projects, building bridges to buildings to solar power stations to renewable energy stations and new generations power projects, and you name it. There's many things coming up in next few years. There are UN also international targets to reach by 2030, such as carbon emission, reducing the carbon, then to reach the Paris Agreement and things like that. So engineering's going to be a very good ending as well for coming years. So going into bachelor's or the white collar jobs, it is always good to go through your trade qualifications as well. Within trade qualification, to what I see, I mean, right now any trade is very important because of lack of experience and skilled workers available. I believe cooks and chefs will continue to shine, because there is a big shortage with cooks and chefs. Mechanics and construction trades, automotive sector is good, and construction trades going to shine as well, and it will continue to have many opportunities coming in coming years. So carpentry, painting, tiling, bricklaying, locksmithing, so those sort of areas. Having said that, even though there is a very big demand in Australia for electricians and plumbers, if you're looking to study those subjects as an international student, remember you're required to have trade license for these sort of qualifications. So it could complicate your requirements to achieve the registrations right after your application, because registrations requires you to have certain work experience prior, post work experience prior registration. How you can fulfill that within your student visa or the temporary resident visa, you need to be aware what's up there, otherwise it will be a somewhat a waste of your studies as well. So plan it properly. That's quite a bit of information for international students, because you're going to be the newly came stars in Australia right now, in my opinion. So I'm going to take some questions here. I'll answer as much as I can. I don't have many resources today, but I'll go through the questions quick enough, and then whatever we can't get through, we'll come back to you next week, or write back to you. Devin, Happy New Year to you too. Good morning. You must be from the other side of the world. Satish Kumar, hi. 70 points, state 491, offshore. Satish, graphic designer, 491 with 70 points for offshore applications. I would not encourage right now. If you are unsure, onshore, then you might have got other options available. But right now, with the occupation and the points, it's not very positive. Vishnu, hi. Tell me, there any possibility to open Queensland for offshore applicants? So offshore for Queensland, I don't think it'll happen in this financial year, but more promising towards next financial year. Queensland's got quite a few good applications going through right now, but I don't think they will open for offshore this financial year. But the next financial year is only 6 months away, so you can prepare yourself that way. Miraz Hossein, no chance of people 80 to 90 points for offshore people. IT security analyst offshore. With the points, I would rather try finding an employer, because trust me, we get quite a few inquiries every day in IT sector with employers looking for employees. So I'm pretty sure if there's a big demand like that we feel, there must be a big demand out there as well. Excuse me. How to reach those employers? Whether look through the job searches such as seek.com.au, etc., or jobactive.gov.au, or go through LinkedIn. There are a lot of opportunities that way. Martin Nell, good afternoon. Trust you well. Thank you. Well, Martin, had a baby too and a nice holiday, and I think well needed one. So thank you. We are well, and hope you guys are doing well too. Just like to know how long after your medical has been done for my 482. That's been submitted 2nd of April 2021. Will you get your visa? I think if you already done your medical and your last bit of you've done it on 8th of December 2021. I guess you should receive it very soon. Sometimes I give 28 days between medical and the final result, unless if there's nothing else outstanding. Plumbing, very good, Martin. I think if you don't get a response back within next few weeks, I would write to the case officer or get your employer to write to the case officer. They will expedite it. Hope you're unsure at the moment. Naresh Goyal, can we open offshore 491 for manufacturing SA? SA is very dynamic. They're very well organized with the migration program. So right now there's not many available in that sector to what I've read a week or so ago. So I don't know if they should change daily, but for the time being, no, Naresh. Sai Prasad, how long is it taking to get invitation for GTI? Very good question. Look, my experience with GTI lately is if your experience is there and if you're highly qualified with your achievements as well as your current earnings as well as your education, you can go, the closest can be about a couple of months to 3 months. But I've seen extended delays for the normal categories, non-prioritize GTI, between 8 to 10 months. Average is about 6, but it can go up to 8 to 10 months. Vishal Kapare, SA offshore 80 points including state points, EOI lodge 6 months back. What are the chances? Vishal, for SA, they have a really good program, but 80 points must be must be very competitive. So maybe if you have any other way to increase points or look for employers, because architects get opportunities around the other around other places as well, but skill migration is not the only options too. But with my experience, architects, if they're not certain IT or accounts occupations where you don't get where you get lot of inquiries, a lot of applications. So you might have a chance too. Hope you meet all the criteria too. I think you got professional plus and 8 years experience, etc. And then you might have an opportunity. When did you apply though? Was it lately? Sorry, you don't mention it. So I can't give you a straight answer on this, but I think hopefully you'll get an invitation soon. But it depends on the current queue too. Joanna Farr, you have applied for a GTI with Ashani. Yeah, so Joanna, the July. So as I said, I think you should get a response back within next 2 to 3 months, the way it goes. So by end of February, early March, you should hear back with the EOI. And once you get the EOI invitation, the visa application process is quite fast. Structural engineer, 10 years experience, 90 points for New South Wales. I think very good. Sorry, I just lost the question. So Suji, I think New South Wales, for 190 they're only looking at 3 years experience. I hope you're currently living and working in New South Wales too, because you're required to live and work in New South Wales for 3 months. So I think you got good chance of getting it. Dylan Alves, hi. Can I get sponsor visa 482 after re-entry ban? Please feel free to let me know. It's been more than 3 years and everything is ready for 482 visa. So if you had a section 48 and a 4020 bar or something for 3 years, after 3 years you can reapply for 482. Yes, as long as you have an employer who's willing to employ and you continue to fulfill your visa requirements, such as the qualification, work experience, English, etc., then there's no reason why you shouldn't. Yeah. Ashan Madhushankar, good day to you too. Ashan, any idea about state opening for offshore? So far only New South Wales. What about the other states? So offshore, currently South Australia is open for you, but New South Wales, they have just increased the work requirement from nothing to 3 years. So likelihood of them opening for offshore anytime soon, I'm not sure. I don't think it'll happen this financial year. Maybe with the next program in next financial year, they might extend to offshore as well. Any updates on 482 short-term skill PR pathways? There we are looking keenly to hear the news, but there's no specific information yet. Now, this is the topic that I spoke earlier about 482 short-term skill occupation list having opportunities to go into 186. Mohammed, how about the chances to invite for New South Wales visa surplus 190 with 85 points and 95 for 491? Civil engineering profession, offshore. Offshore, I'm not sure. I don't. The chances for New South Wales could be quite tough. I'm not encouraging for New South Wales with that sort of background at the moment. But depending on how big of an experience you've got, South Australia might be a good one. Devin Villa Carlos, HRP invitations, immigrants visas from South Australia, Canada. How many years to visas tickets? Sorry, Devin. Look, I don't understand your question. I'm really sorry. You can resend it or send us an email on admin@sirius.com.au. Akash Rana can apply for PR in draftsman after completing masters in civil engineering. Look, if it applying as in if you have work experience completing those tasks as a draft person, and if you have completed the certain education which fulfills the draft person's skills set, then you can apply for a skill assessment as a draft person. It doesn't matter whether you have a master's or a bachelor's. So one person legally can have multiple skills assessment depending on certain individuals do multiple bachelor's degrees at once. Some people do multiple unrelated job and get themselves skilled in different occupations. So that's doable. Pravan Varun, hello. I'm planning to study Masters of Cyber Security at Newcastle University in New South Wales this year. Is it okay if I move to Perth to work and apply for visa after that? Do I need to stay? Look, New South Wales and Newcastle is I think deemed as regional, so you get extra point. It's a very good selection, but going to Perth, it depends on what program that they will have. If you're looking to get permanent residency through Perth, then it's another story, because what they will have at that time, because Perth used to require you to study in Perth before you can get state nomination in Perth. So what they will have by the time you finish your studies will be different. If you like further advice, I would suggest you to talk to one of our education team. They can give you a much clear proper education pathway, Pawan. So if you like, send us an email with your background and to education@sirius.com.au, or you can send it to the normal admin@sirius.com.au. Admin's got a lot of emails comes through, but if it's education related, I think it'll be easier for you to talk to them directly at education@sirius.com.au, and they won't charge you for advice as well. They'll talk to you, Kesh or Mickey. They will support you directly. They were John, I think, and I am 190 for New South Wales ICT support engineer with 70 points. 70 points, 190. It's going to be quite tough, I think, especially New South Wales. Sorry for the bad news. Martin, I'm currently offshore. All the medicals still take up to 28 days. Congratulations to the baby. Thank you. Blessings on the blessings for you guys. Thank you, Martin. All the best for your visa as well. I'm pretty sure you'll get it very soon. If you've done the medical and fulfill all the further information that they required. So, Mohammed Konyat, sir, I got admission to USQ. Congratulations in MIS. USQ is a very good university, and they also give you extra points for your migration pathway if you pursue. And then these days they give quite significant scholarships as well. But still, I'm waiting. What's wrong? Kindly guide me. So maybe you. So you applied for your visa 7 months ago, or the university? Because university wouldn't take 7 months to process. But if your visa taken 7 months, are you currently onshore or offshore? If you're offshore, which country? And maybe time to write to the case officer if it's taking too long. Dylan, thanks a lot. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day to you too. Thanks, Dylan. And I'll take the next couple of questions and round it up for the day. So there was in New South Wales 5 years in. There were good couple of clients with that similar background, but 70 points might be a bit tough. But the good thing is you have 5 years experience. So 70 points might be not a very good point, but maybe look into, unless you're looking into 491 pathways, you can also look into 482 or 186 pathway, because you can apply for permanent residency directly if you get a skills assessment, because you have 5 years work experience with competent English, which is IELTS 6 in each band sort of thing. You can apply for permanent residency directly. Of course, you need to have an employer sponsoring you though. Ashan Madhushankar, chances for offshore applicants are very tight. Tasmania and as well as South Australia having a good program for it, but this year I wouldn't encourage too much. I don't think there'll be other opportunities with the other states. Milan, if I got a job in New South Wales and allows work in Adelaide, can I apply for 491 from SA and get the state sponsorship? Good try, Milan. No. If you're talking about New South Wales sponsorship, they look into your rental and living arrangements. Unfortunately, it is okay to work, but they won't. There is a requirement for you to live and work there as well. So, online money matters. Hi. Tell about spouse visa. Can we apply for Feb intake? Spouse visa you can apply anytime. Maybe you're talking about subsequent student visa application. You can apply. That's not a problem. But depending on because you're trying to come here by February, the timings are a bit tight. So I'm going to a couple other questions and then finish it off. Rishad Rizan, can 491 applicants write to the case officer? Even if so, there is a guarantee the case officer will get back to you. Depends on 491. Are you? There is a generic email that you can write to, or unless you have already been notified who's your case officer. If you're still in the state level, which you have not yet received an invitation, then you can talk to the state agency as well. MD Mahabutul Islam. If I apply 491 visa and if my wife is eligible for 190 visa after my 491 visa, can she will be able to apply? Look, we have to look the whole situation, because I think the way you suggest, I don't think she can apply, but maybe if your wife is already eligible for 190, why not work out a way to apply for 190 rather than going through the 491, because you'll have the restrictions. I think that's it, right, Mark? So okay, I the purists will quickly give you an answer before we go. Would you like to tell which state will be better for chef? Are you already qualified and do you have years of experience? Chefs got good opportunities in Queensland. I mean, all over the place, chefs got opportunities. Chefs got better options in far north Queensland as well, because they give you Dharma programs where you can apply for work visa and permanent pathways after 45 years age as well. So it depends on your background too. I out there before I can give you a specific answer. So Shagul has got applied for 189 and got employee offer will help. Of course, employment's always going to be helpful, Shagul, with whichever the visa, skill visa, and also if you're not getting any responses, it'll also be good to have talk to your employer to see if you can apply for it too as well. I'm a bit lost. What are the chances for business analyst in Victoria with 95 points? Depending on the sector that you're working on, 95 is a good point, Chanel. So how much time South Australia takes to state nomination process? It depends on your occupation, Mohammed, and also how much points you got. So they can be fairly quick if your application's got highlights. So Chanel's there, Moment. Admission to USQ MIS applied for 7 months ago, but still I'm waiting. But what's wrong? So I thought I answered this question already, Moment. I'm Bharat, Metal Mechanist, UI 491, state sponsor. Bharat, which state did you apply to? 65 491 for New South Wales. If you have a bit of work experience behind you as well, metal mechanist should have good opportunity. I might get if you're currently employed, I might get a letter of support from your employer as well, and try that way. Jyoti, you can apply for student visa for Feb intake. How quickly would it process? Not sure. Are you currently offshore by the sound of it? So you can apply, but maybe they might give you a delayed option. So most of the countries, the visas are getting processed in Western Australia, especially Sri Lankan applicants. I saw your applications, student visa applications, are now getting processed in Western Australia. So depending on the country as well, you might have a good opportunity. If you missed it, you can still they will still consider you for the next semester, or you can, while it's processing, you can start continue to study online or some arrangement with the university. All right, viewers, thank you very much for all the questions that you put forward. Unfortunately, time is extremely running out. I'm going to miss out on a few last questions. So we will endeavor to answer those questions to you. Maybe if you could kindly share these questions with admin@sirius.com.au, and we'll give you an opportunity to talk one-on-one, or we will answer your questions that way. Again, Happy New Year to you all. May all your targets, all your hopes be wonderfully achieved this year. And stay safe with COVID, stay with family, enjoy the last bit of your holidays if you're still in holidays. Unfortunately, we are already working, or fortunately. And we'll still see you next week. Me and Mari was talking just before. It's going to be a different program coming through from Sirius Migration in a couple of weeks with these live sessions. It'll be reshaped and it'll come to you differently. But either way, we want to educate and share our knowledge with you as much as we can. If there's any migration related matters, you can always contact us through these numbers and email addresses. We work on Australian Eastern Standard Brisbane time. So Monday to Friday, we are always available through the phone lines too. If your email's not being responded early enough, you can always call us and set up an appointment with one of us. And we wish you all the very best for your future endeavors, and hope to see you soon. God bless you all.